and the show is over there. And thank you very much. The show is sponsored every week by disabilityattorney.com.
It's .net.
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 No, I'm a .net kind of guy. I'm
He's
your
a .net kind of guy.
Internet kind of attorney.
Sorry.
Yeah, disabilityattorney.net. Where justice is more than a slogan.
We're sorry to the sponsor for that comment.
I know. You need to send me a bill too.
That's Michael's practice, disabilityattorney.net, just the way it's spelled. And if you're in the realm of needing that kind of assistance, I can personally tell you couldn't do any better to find someone to represent you and help you with your issues.
Well, thank you, Luke.
You're very welcome, sir. You're a very conscientious man, and I'm sure it just carries through every piece of your life.
As one does one thing, one does all things. It's a manifestation of character. You can say it in anything.
Say that again. That's worth hearing again.
As one does one thing, one does all things.
Boy, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, what was that other quote?
I'm kind of a half-ass, though. I kind of half-ass a lot of things, to be honest with you.
Sometimes you have to. You can't be a sage all the time. You get a reprieve.
I love my sage shifts. Yeah, you had a little note scribbled on the edge there or something.
Yeah, a little research.
It was
some period.
Was beyond. There it is.
No, there's.
That's not it?
No, it's a different kind of thing.
Okay.
I'll find it in the office. I'll bring up something funny, though. Is like before we go on the air, we're hearing the great song by Kim Carnes, Betty Davis Eyes. It brings me back a number of years. The joints I worked, the
things I did.
And I'm going, it's like, wait a minute, there's a disease. I was like, and all of a sudden, it's Graves' disease, but I guess she's got Betty Davis eyes. That's a lot better than she's got Graves' disease. I'm sorry, people, folks. I think like this sometimes.
Every once in a while, she's got Marty Feldman eyes.
Another Graves' disease victim, but he was able to do things in his eyes that nobody should ever be able to do.
She's got Marty Feldman eyes.
Somehow it just doesn't sound the same as the Betty Davis. It's much more
that's a great spoof like
that. I can see the spoof video right now. I can see it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the other voices you hear, that's Michael Merberg, my co-host, and our producer, Kathy McGuire,
who was drinking a little bit of wine and a wine tasting before I came down here in the beautiful downtown Clearwater at Soul Sicilian Fusion. It was absolutely amazing. So if I'm a little chatty tonight, they may have to give me the signal to shut up because wine makes me really happy. It's wonderful. So, but I am drinking coffee too to kind of,
just upset your stomach.
I guess she's snoring in 20 minutes.
So I have a little caffeine to combat the dreariness.
I sound like a hillbilly when I say this, but I go down to Trader Joe's. There's one in St. Petersburg, my favorite little grocery store, and they've got a $3 bottle of Merlot. They used to call it $2 Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. And now it's gone up to $3.
Wow. So what is it? So how?
$2.99. I'm telling you, the Trader Joe's Merlot at $3 is phenomenal. It's smooth. It doesn't have any kickback. It doesn't bite you back. I mean, it's just.
I once knew a French countess. It's a true story. A bit older than I, and I had visited her at her home, and she was drinking this wine. I said, "Hey, this must be an expensive wine." I didn't know anything about wine when I was 23, 24. She goes, "Actually, no. It's like the key to wine: find something you like and buy it." It doesn't matter what the cost is. Just find something you like and buy it.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to sound like a goober, but I really don't know if I could tell the difference between a $20 glass of wine and a $3 glass of wine.
Yeah, except the price. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming I'm not paying for it. I'll enjoy the $20 one more, of course, and think more of myself. Well, look what I got. It's like.
Well, I'm kind of a Moscato girl, so I had some other wine tonight, but I still am. I like that sweet, fruity wine. So
I used to be a Muscatel kind of guy.
You know kind of wine I like. Tequila.
Okay, and vodka too. We won't go there. All right, we'll get off topic.
Tater juice.
Oh, tater juice. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to square back around here. Thank you, everybody that's listening.
Wait a second. I got to say this. Cat Carol just said, testing has shown, wait a minute, where'd it go? Testing has shown most of us can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
The
I'm
taste of
sure.
the lie.
I'm sure it's
Thank
probably
you, Kat.
like it's diamonds, one of the biggest scams in the world.
Right.
You know,
Right.
We the whole diamond thing.
Yeah, diamonds are forever, but marriages aren't.
Well, payments on that ring are.
Yeah, I know. It's like you get divorced before the payments are up.
Yeah, boy, I knew a guy that was a diamond salesman. He was a wealthy dude, but he was ruthless, dude. When it came to the close, there was nobody taking it away from him. I mean, he could make a guy. He found a way to sell everybody their engagement rings. It was amazing as far as the sales guy goes. But anyway, when
That was quite an opening today.
yeah, man, we got all kinds of coercion happening here.
Oh, and don't forget our Halloween decorations.
I'll forget
little
Halloween.
Pumpkins.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
We didn't do that, by the way.
I'm
That
not,
was
I'm
part
not
of the
much
studio.
on it.
No, and I know why.
Why is it?
Because it's the history of the jack-o'-lantern.
The jack-o'-lantern's an ugly story.
It is. But people need to know.
Well, I don't have my documentation in front of me, but I've studied this over and over again, and from a couple different angles. The history of the jack-o'-lantern is from the Druidic times.
Yes.
They would go from castle to castle, and if you had a jack-o'-lantern in your window, okay, and they lit the jack-o'-lantern with the gleanings of a sacrificed child. And that's what it meant. If you had one in the window, you had already paid your homage to the Druidic hierarchy in that area. And they would go, and because they would come by to collect. And if that was the thing, if you had the jack-o'-lantern in the window, they would go by.
It's kind of frightening.
It's ugly. It's really ugly. And, this historically it's there. I mean, go ahead and look it up. It's not going to be on Wikipedia or anything, and there is some alternative news sources. But if you look up paganism and all those kind of things, and animal and human sacrifice are still part of their routine, which gives me a very, very it's very difficult for me to agree with those things. And then you get the other ones. Oh, we're white witches. We're okay. We don't. Okay. Well,
So it's a case of Orthodox Druidism versus
Druidism light? Is it Druidism light? Is a white witch like a Druid? I don't know.
Orthodox Druidism.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. We all have our own ways of expressing
Yeah,
ourselves. But I don't know if I want to agree with the sacrificing of any human being.
If you're going to be
just not
involved
really-
with that kind of loop,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying you're fighting the system that I'm working towards. And that is a loving, caring, peaceful society where we love each other and take care of each other, where we don't have to have these mythical creatures somehow symbolizing favor towards us. And we have to kill or spill blood to prove our allegiance and be worthy of this blessing. Come on, man. You're putting a lot of stuff in front of nothing.
starting to sound like our elected officials.
But Lou, I have a question.
Yes.
Can I just eat candy and dress sexy on Halloween? Is that okay? Is that acceptable?
That I think is
Okay. All right. Then that's fine. All right. Just as long as I'm okay with
other
that.
than the gluttony.
I didn't say a lot of candy. I just said a couple of pieces of chocolate. All right.
Okay, well that's good.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, well, folks, sorry about the big witch story there in the beginning. Anyway, and I'll probably get some kind of heat off of that because I have some witch friends on my.
Well, once again, you got religion, and religion cuts. It creates dichotomy. So we're just laughing at it.
It does, right? And you can laugh at all the other sects of religion as well. They all have their silly little things, and and the spilling of blood is a big thing too. I mean, even the sacrament of the blood of Christ and the wafer representing the body. Okay, let's pull back a little bit in an abstract way. Does this symbolize cannibalism?
No, but I mean, you look at pasta with spaghetti sauce the same way.
That's my electric chair. That's my electric chair meal. If I have
But it has
go-
to be really good pasta with really wonderful meatballs.
if I ever have to go to the electric chair,
Pasta al dente.
some nice pasta with a meat sauce and sausage.
Sausage. You're
Yeah.
the sausage, not the meatball.
But the
guy.
funniest one, did you know what's the guy's name? He had to go to the electric chair, and what was his
I
last
forget who it
meal?
was, but he was wanted toast.
He wanted toast.
Toast. Single minded.
Not even cinnamon. Not even cinnamon toast. Just toast.
Just regular toast. Well, folks, last week here on the imho.love show, we started talking about synchronicity and how things happen in your life. And when you're paying attention, and an overused phrase these days is if you're awoke or awakened, you start to notice these symbologies as they come by. You can trace almost everything back to something half good, half sinister, but numerologically, I catch 11:11 almost every day, sometimes twice a day. That's I'm always running.
Never more than that.
It's its limits.
He has his limits. Yeah.
Sometimes twice a day. And
wow, that's a synchronicity.
No, wait, it is. Well, and for those of you who don't know about 11:11, that is at that particular time, for some particular alignment of spirit, light, opening, space, whatever, that's a portal. And if you have any blessings you want to send, that's a good time. It's almost like express mail. So you can just, if you hit that 11:11 portal, boom, you can go.
Sorry, the spirits on the other side, they see 11:13. They're like, sorry, you can't. No.
Yeah, it's like the
late.
post office. They're
Missed
closed
your
at
cutoff.
5:01.
Sorry. Now you got to wait the weekend.
Oh, it's a 7-day thing. It's a 7 days. But that's funny.
Oh my goodness.
Shipping, free shipping. And all these little things. As far as the synchronicity goes, I know, and for those of you who want to share some synchronous times with us on the air this evening, we're going to leave the phone lines open. Vaughn, our board op in there, he's manned and ready to roll. And the number here at the studio is 727-441-3000. That's 727-441-3000. Or, I don't know, you can use this toll-free number, 866-826-1340. That's 866-826-1340. And there we go. So if you've had a synchronistic event in your life, maybe an alignment of people, somebody coming back into your life, somebody leaving your life, some sort of scenario that was just out of nowhere. And, it happens to me constantly. I have a dear friend who happened to be involved with this guy 40 years ago. And for some weird thing, in the last 40 years, I've never talked to this guy until last week. And I just found out that she was with him and he was with her, but neither one of them know me outside of individual things. So really, I mean, just that, again, what I like to say is time is cyclical. So as our time cycle back through, people come in and out of your life, and very interesting. Your world can really, really get tight sometimes. And I also believe in soul circles, that we travel with similar folks or the same folks over and over and over again. And that's why over the last several months, I've had some people torn from my soul circle, and it always hurts when they leave. There's a recalibration time, that we all have to heal, and the torn ends have to kind of blunt over, and you make another connection on a different frequency to tune yourself up. But I'll also say, and I was talking to Michael and Kathy before the show started. Part of the synchronicity thing. There's a great book out. Napoleon Hill wrote it, and it's all about 7 different things. 7 different. It's all sevens, loaded with sevens. Sevens high in the numerology aspect. But one of the things that he said was, you become the average of the 7 people that you hang around the most, or the 7 people that you associate with the most, or whatever type of phraseology you want to put on it. But your 7, and you need to take a look around and look at your 7. If you're spending a lot of time with people in your 7 that are draining you, that are wearing you out, that are taking up too much time, energy, effort, and funding, you don't want to include that into your average if you can help it. Or if you have somebody that's extraordinarily draining, you need to add somebody that's extraordinarily fulfilling. And what I was saying, over the last couple of years, my 7 has changed a few times, and I am just so in love with my 7 right now. The other 7 people in my life that are my direct people I talk to almost every day, a couple times a week. And of course, I got pinch hitters. But the vibration that I'm feeling, and for as much personal turnover that I've had, the vibration that I'm feeling right now, I'm extraordinarily grateful. My meditations have gotten better, and me acting as a conduit on behalf of other people for healing and for deeper understanding. The fact that the Spirit is using me as the conduit, I become healed just letting it pass through me, and then disperse it as you will. And it's amazing how quickly, when you expose yourself to these things and you let yourself be used for love and innocence and goodness and kindness and sharing and caring, when you let yourself be used for those type of efforts, the residual peace, the residual understanding that you gather from that it's very, very hard to explain, but I can certainly tell you that it's very fulfilling. And if you're having some gaps in your life and you're not feeling complete, you need to get outside of yourself a little bit, maybe do some kind of charity work, maybe do some kind of, help somebody out. And the scriptures say, as far as when your giving goes, says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. I mean, give anonymously and just let that be the blessing. There have been a lot of times people have given great gifts, but then really bragged about the gifts that they gave. And to me, okay, fine. If you want people to know you're philanthropic, that's fine. But you used up some of your blessing in that action. Now, had you been more anonymous, had you, related it to the Spirit a little more, you would have gotten more out of that energy, out of that action. Well, and the classic story of it is from Moses in the Bible. When Moses was proving the power of his creator, he knew that he could get water from the rock. Okay. And God told him, you have to speak to the rock and water will come forth. Well, Moses kind of put a little humanistic spin on it, and he struck the rock with his staff.
He was flamboyant instead.
And he struck the rock. Yes. And he let a little bit of ego in, and the water came, and just like God promised he would. But he also didn't get to see the promised land. And I don't know if that was the final thing that said, you're close, but you're not doing it. All you had to do was speak to the rock, not strike the rock. And that's why you're giving, you're caring, you're sharing. Do it all as anonymously as possible. I mean, if you need the tax deduction, go ahead and take it. But
render to Caesar what is Caesar's.
Yeah. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, unless you're driving. And then but I'm telling you, you'll increase your blessing the more anonymous they become.
Can I share one quick story
Of
about
course.
that? Because so my uncles own the management company that started Seminole Indian Casino. A lot of people know what that is who live in this area, but for those of you who don't, the Hard Rock casinos that are owned by the Seminole Indians are owned by them because for 20 years my uncle's company managed the casinos, taught the Indians everything, and made them all the money so they could buy Hard Rock in bankruptcy in the early 2000s. And he passed away in the early 2000s, shortly after the contract ended. And when he passed away, they found a couple of drawers of promissory notes.
Really?
So he had so much money, he could have put his name on buildings, but instead he chose to help people anonymously. And whether it was a business venture or someone needed braces for their kids or surgery and they couldn't afford the copay or whatever it was. And he didn't care if someone paid him back. It was just his way. It was his private philanthropic cause. And so at his funeral, people kept coming up and telling these amazing stories and walking around. And it was,
man.
I never knew. No one ever knew.
That's beautiful.
No one knew. And I thought, what an amazing legacy. He called, his office was an open door and people would just come in, and they never took advantage of that. They respected it. And obviously a lot of people did pay it back or paid it forward.
Sure.
And so I just thought that's a very cool story about someone who, he had a gift for making money. That was his gift in life. And he wasn't greedy about it. He shared it. So.
I don't even have the home game. Actually, I do.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Actually, I do. I'm fine. Anyway,
okay,
that was the joke. That was very good. That's a great share. And of course, synchronistic. Did we lose video again?
Yeah, I got just the internet, but that's
okay.
Okay, well, let me start it up again.
Okay. What was where are you at with that, Michael?
I said the Tao provides.
Absolutely. You just and sometimes if you let yourself be open to the movement, to the giving and the sharing, you're going to amplify whatever it is you're doing, and you're just everything's just going to flow better. And Mike, you got a lot of notes tonight.
I always have a lot of notes.
Yeah, I know, you're a note guy.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So what's next? What's next on your agenda?
Well, maybe we can talk about the human initiated contact experience we had out at the ranch this past weekend.
It was amazing. And again, some synchronistic things happened there. And the weather report was terrible the whole week. It's 90% chance of rain. It's going to be small tornado warnings. And it was the most peaceful, balmy evening of the year so far. And beautiful group of people. The core group was there, and just some real mellow souls. And man, we had a great experience. We had a great turnout. We had some great time together. It was very, very peaceful. Very peaceful.
Well, what about the results? Did you see any?
I saw one, but I hear there were many. I fell asleep for a little while.
Okay. Yeah, you had a long day.
It did. That was a long Saturday.
Yeah, we had quite a result down there. We had some fairly up close, less than 4,000 feet. And,
wow.
Moving back and forth. So we had for those of us that were awake, we had a good night. But what was different about the night, though, is that I had read a passage from a book called The Footsteps of the Mystical Child. It's by an author, Watching Nee. I know it sounds funny, but it's the only
Watchman Nee.
Watching Nee, or Nee Watching, depends on how you want to pronounce or attack the last name. But he is a Tao master, and he's written a number of books that I've read, and he started me on my path. I was actually breaking down and taking my notes on some of his writings, in Tampa back on October 3rd, 2015, when the large craft appeared, and I was allowed to photograph. So this teacher I've been reading now for over 5 years.
Okay.
And I'm finally getting to the end of all his works. And just as after I finished Jung, who was a very challenging read, and on synchronicity, the funny thing is that Jung says what it is, but he really doesn't tell us what it does or how to look out for it. We can go into that later, but actually, I'll go into it now because if I don't, I'll miss it on the notes. What synchronicity does is it's something we notice. It's a meaningful coincidence, but it's something we notice as we go through our time space.
Mm-hmm.
And these are just brief insights into the nature of things. However, you need to realize that because they're just brief insights, you have to realize that what you're seeing is happening all around you. You just never notice it. So this is going on constantly and consistently all the time.
Wow.
And synchronicity is just that little insight you get.
And it happens way more often than we even note.
Right, because we're only able to consume or intake so much. But what happens though is once you develop a unity consciousness, you start realizing that it's going on all the time, and you are who you are, and you're going through time and space the way it is. And there are other spiritual evolutions or involvements that come with that to achieve the unity of a heart and mind and spirit. So.
Well, that actually that makes a tremendous amount of sense. And like I said, when people start to turn the corner and they're more awake and they're more aware of everything going on around them, and that is when you would notice synchronistic things. I just got a copy of the Tao of Pooh.
The Tao of Pooh.
So,
Winnie
Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. Tremendous. And I've just been able to read a short story or two, and I'll share that next week, the Tao of Pooh.
That's cool.
But I need to condense the story. It would be too long to read it word for word.
Yeah, I can see Goldilocks, the Three Bears, and Pooh. There's a story in there.
One of my fondest memories of being a dad was when Isaac was little. He would always want me to tell him stories, okay? But and I gave him the regular, Three Little Pigs and and then he would just go, make one up. And I had to come up with these colossal stories. And practice. It was very good practice. And there's one that I noticed. I remembered the other day. I'm making this up. I'm trying to put my son to sleep, and those big power line structures out there, out in the rural areas. They like have legs and arms. They kind of look that way.
Yeah.
Well, the story I created was those guys are actually soldiers put here to protect the earth.
Oh.
And when they get the signal that we're going to go out to full war, they break their shackles away from these lines and they go to protect us because they cut out the power so the bombs can't be launched and all the evil can't ensue. So it was interesting.
And people break out their 0-point energy firearms and house warmers. Yeah, it sounds like a good story.
It was a good story, and that's why my son's a little weird these days.
Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey. A bedtime story was, "Hey, a guy screwed up. He died. Good night."
You believe that, Jamal? Ladies and gentlemen, we're under a minute here at the imho.love show. Thank you, everybody. I saw Fran on there, and hey, Cat Carol, and I think Pam, and hey, there's Bobby Taylor, Mark Cottingham,
Tom, Greg, Leroy, Tony, Amy.
Hey, Greg Clamo. Hey, Leroy's here too.
Yeah. We had a whole bunch more, but unfortunately the Wi-Fi disconnected us, so I had to reconnect us. But don't worry, you can catch us later, and I know we're going into breaks. We'll talk.
It pops right back up. And hello, Amy Ambrosino, all the way from California. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angel Wolf. Here we are, Michael Merberg and Kathy McGuire. We'll be back in a little bit. We got to listen to the regular news, run some ads, and then we'll be back for Synchronicity Part 2.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyr Hills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
al-Baghdadi was buried at sea following the weekend raid in northwest Syria that led to his death. The head of U.S. Central Command, General Kenneth McKenzie, says Baghdadi's death does not mean the end of the terror group.
We don't see a bloodless future because, unfortunately, this ideology is going to be out there. But we think there's a way to get to a point where it's going to be less and less effective over time.
Some 26,000 people forced from their homes due to the Easy Fire that charged some 1,300 acres in Simi Valley, California. Correspondent Stephanie Elam says hurricane-force winds have been driving this wildfire.
When they push up against you, it does feel like you are up in a hurricane, feeling that intensity here.
Twitter is banning all political advertising worldwide starting next month, saying the reach of such messages should be earned and not bought.
Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey says that paying for ads forces targeted political messages on people with a power that brings significant risks to politics. The announcement being met with praise by Democrats and criticism from the Trump campaign. Manager Brad Parscale says the move is an attempt to silence conservatives and a very dumb decision for the company's shareholders. I'm Joe Ramsey.
A federal lawsuit filed today accuses the Trump administration of preventing Americans from bringing their foreign spouses and parents to live with them in the U.S. by requiring proof that they can afford health care before they get their visas. 7 U.S. citizens and a nonprofit organization filed a lawsuit in Portland, Oregon, over the rule that is set to take effect on Sunday. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. And right now, get your first online visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. Sure beats paying for an in-office doctor's appointment, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need to deal with awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe the medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/joy.
Hi, this is Pryor Smith speaking from Toronto.
The winter tourist season in Florida. How would you like to be able to promote yourself, your business, or someone else's?
On Monday, November 4th, Canada Calling, their daily update of news from home, will be back on the radio for the 66th season. Join me in Clearwater on WTAN AM 1340 and 106.1, in Dade City on WDCF 1350 and 102.3, and WZHR AM 1400 and 104.3, the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Go yard is a metaphor used in baseball, meaning to hit a home run. Life struggles can make you feel like you just struck out. It's times like these that we need a little batting practice to pick ourselves back up and get back in the game. Whether you are dealing with marital issues, drug addiction, rebellious teens, anxiety, depression, or just generally having a bad day, call Mama Mac. If life has you down 0-2, before you strike out, learn to go yard. Go yard with Mama Mac on this radio station, Thursdays, 6 o'clock.
If you would like to become a wholesale buyer of the premium quality longevity product that you hear about right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network for personal service, you can pick up the phone right now and call Lola at 727-441-3311. Again, that's Lola at 727-441-3311. Or for even faster service, log on to tantalkhealth.com. That's tantalkhealth.com. Here's to your health and longevity.
Let's go bowling!
Let's Go Bowling, heard on the Tan Talk Radio Network every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 Eastern Time. Sponsored by 12 Strike and Innovative Ball Spinner. If you bowl, if you haven't bowled in a while, or if you never bowled, why don't you be one of 65 million people have bowled last year? Listen to the Tip of the Week. Bowling stars, old and new. Let's Go Bowling Show, gobowlingshow.com.
Don't miss the Craft Beer Hour every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll bring you up to speed on craft beer events and festivals, local breweries, and interview the brains behind the brews. So grab a pint and listen to the Craft Beer Hour every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network, and visit the website, thecraftbeerhour.com.
Tom O'Brien is on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Every Monday through Friday from 4 till 5 p.m., Tom takes to the airwaves as he breaks down the day's market action. Tom combines his technical knowledge of the markets with his years of trading experience to take your calls and questions every market day from 4 to 5 p.m. Whether you're new to trading or an active day trader, don't miss out on the Tom O'Brien Show live on the Tan Talk Radio Network from 4 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Lou Angel Wolf. That's Mike Merberg next to me and Kathy McGuire on the other side. This is the imho.love show. I appreciate you hanging in there during the break while we played the regular news and then some ads. And like I said, the only little ad we have here is this show is brought to you by disabilityattorney.net. That's Michael's practice over in Tampa. So if you have that kind of need, you can, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you can do no better. Well, welcome back, folks. We've been studying synchronicity at Carl Jung for the last several weeks. And really, these words are, they're falling on me, and they're growing and they're expanding. And my understanding is getting further and further increased. My prayer life has really, really taken off. My meditations seem to be even more powerful. And that fourth dimension really isn't that far away. And just take your time. Believe me, it's worth finding. It's worth looking for. Don't be afraid to get to know yourself. I mean, you're gonna find some ugly stuff out about you, but you will be able to deal with it in a really, really mature and wise manner. And I think what it is that kind of spurs this whole thing. I mean, back when Michael and I were doing the Lutopia show, which was a little more comedy based, but we got more and more involved in the actual, the big life picture. Another show I had, Big Picture Radio, Michael studies the Tao every day, and it is kind of his guidepost, and I identify with so much of it. I mean, there's none of it that is false. It's all true, and if you're willing to look at it and turn your head a certain way, you can see it in almost every light in which it's shown. And you had an incredible quote on the break there.
I've been as I said, I've been watching you for a number of years, and it's a good week of quotes. Actually, I had gleaned a Terence McKenna lecture, and he always offers up quite a number of people with very interesting things to say. But and we kind of start off before the show with, you are both the puzzle and the measure of all things.
You are both the puzzle and the measure of all things.
Right.
Man, that makes, yeah,
deep stuff this week.
But that particular phrase, you are both the puzzle and the measure of all things. That would be the one sentence explanation for confusion.
Right.
It's your confusion and your lack of knowing what to do is totally pre-wired for you to deal with. And here's this other wisdom, which will help you unfurl all that knotted mess.
Yeah, well, we actually got into, when we were on the break, about wisdom. What is it? And there was a great quote from watching me is, wisdom is not something that can be used to condemn sin or mistakes of the past. Its value lies in guiding one's next step here and now. To put true wisdom into practice is to maintain a non-conceptual mind, a mind that is without attachment to its own illusions and creations. When you reach this level of development, you are equal to the greatest of sages. That's what it's all about, folks.
Yeah, that's wow. And really what you do is at that level, you turn yourself into an antenna to receive the greatest blessings that this universe has to bestow upon you. And that would be, personal peace, personal serenity, a true feeling of love in your heart, a true restoration of innocence in your soul. And what it is, I guess what we say every week is, use your head, trust your gut. Those two things are meant to, they're wired together. Like if you've ever been very, very upset, you have a headache and you have a heartache and you have a stomach ache all at the same time. Everything is all confused. And the stomach is absolutely brilliant. I mean, the things the stomach can do are truly amazing. And there's some schools of thought that the brain actually works for the stomach. So, talk about, a complex scenario, all of our bodies, even if yours is a little messed up or banged up, it's still an amazing system that runs. And the other day when I was thinking about, our age, even though we're sleeping, and it seems like we don't count that time. It's like our time away. We had all these waking days, but you were alive during your sleep. So you've been alive a long time, man. Even when you're resting, you're still alive. And you're just this perpetual machine with this incredible little magnet inside of you. And then it comes into a point in your life where you start to realize your spirit, and your spirit starts to grow inside of you. And you start having these wonderful unified feelings of yourself and the earth and other people. And then you might even get to experience love, and you might even get to experience trust and happiness and joy. And that's kind of what the imho.love show is all about. We are transitioning from the pacifist riot to the pacifist revolution. It's time to pick up the game a little bit. The quiet little riot that we had for a few years was great, and a lot of people found some nice serenity in that. But now it's time for us, now that we've all been rousted, we've all had an alarm go off. It's time for us to stick together in peace. There's no violence. There's no pain to be inflicted. There's no harsh attitudes to be projected in this. This is all about love and understanding and forgiveness. And if we all join together, this little group of people here, and those, I know this show gets all over the world and it just floors me. But in that unified thought, in that Christ consciousness, that we can find peace and understanding for one another, it's going to change the world, man. And it's going to, maybe in a big way, maybe in a small way. It's not mine to worry where it goes. But I can tell you, with the intent that we have in our heart, it should go a very, very long way.
Nee reminds us that even though we can be a sage in 1 minute, we can also be a total fool the next. So you need to accept that about yourself.
Somebody's been reading my mail.
No sage is perfect. And he goes on to say that a living being happily and vigorously moves from one moment of life to the next with enthusiasm and a fresh, open mind.
That's nice.
That's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking.
Yeah, I saw,
Not too much.
I get a little overly Facebooked sometimes, and I can't hardly even take the political quotes anymore. And because of that too, Facebook is censoring a ton of political stuff. They're just, you go see, I got friends that post a lot of political stuff. I don't see their posts as often. They're getting squashed. They're getting stepped on.
Yeah, I posted
both ways.
I posted a Betty White picture the other day.
That was cute.
Yeah, it was. She posed naked at the age of 23, and it got stars over her boobies and over her butty.
Right.
And I put it up, and all of a sudden it disappears for 12 minutes, and all of a sudden it reappears. Like it took them that long to evaluate the shot because it had skin in it, and
Right.
to come to the conclusion like, oh wow, this is not nudity.
You sure somebody shouldn't run off to the bathroom with it?
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
crazy. Oh my God, let's just.
Well, the censorship. Go ahead.
It's like
Kat?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's just amazing to me. I mean, did anyone ever really think when Facebook started that the censorship would be
No.
like it is? I never. It has become so profound since the last election. I mean, these past few years has just become because and I'm not trying to be political, but I will say that during the Obama years, it was so politically correct.
Mhm.
You almost couldn't say what you think. And then
Right.
during the next election, it became everyone was 50% this way, 50%. And then it was like just vomiting. It's just
Yeah,
like vomiting. It's
it-
just like this public vomit of opinion
Yeah.
without warrant. And it's so vile. It's like there's no discussion. I find when I see one of my friends put something on there and I'm like, wow, that doesn't seem like the way they really feel. And the next time I see them in person, I'm able to talk to them. And I find that if we talk,
Yep.
it's amazing how much more understanding there is. But they don't want us to be that way. They don't want us to talk.
Oh.
They don't want us to love, which is
Divide
what
and-
our message is.
divide
In
and
my
conquer.
humble opinion, they don't even believe in my humble opinion.
Right,
But we
right,
do.
right.
And that's the message I feel you're trying. We are the little part of me
We
is
all
part
are,
of
of
this.
course.
But we're trying to say is, what was that last thing you said about that last little comment you made? Now you've lost your notes, haven't you?
No, I'm thinking independently.
He moved on to the next thing.
I'm sorry, Michael, but that's what made me think of this about being open to what
Keeping an open mind.
be open mind, being open minded and just because
be
you can
teachable.
learn, be teachable, be open minded because
Sure.
we learn from each other. But if we sit there and shut down and we're being violent against each other, we can't be open, we can't learn, we can't love.
Well, what Facebook is doing is basically telling us that we need to put pants on our piano stools.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, and they used to do that back in the Edwardian age.
Really?
So yeah, PC kills communication and it kills humor, which surprises the heck out of me which surprised the heck out of me as well because Dave Chappelle is going to the Kennedy Center to
get to Mark Twain,
Right.
which is the irony of that, because there are schools trying to ban Mark Twain's books,
Right.
because the PC culture, which is to me incredible literature and historical and all
Sure.
of that, and the narrative is amazing because it's really, it's absolutely amazing. And this man is going to win the award.
Yeah, I
'cause he's-
can't wait to hear him speak.
I am just so excited. When I saw that, I was like, that's a mind boggling, because we've had several Dave Chappelle discussions on the air and off the air, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, you can even say Puerto Rican and not get in trouble.
Yeah. Well,
Puerto Rican jokes.
well, and
That doesn't
actually,
get in trouble.
I'll be honest with you.
That's great.
There are, even though the PC culture is striking, our stand-up friends,
Absolutely.
Bill Burr, is laying it out there raw and cold. And there's a lot of guys that have something good to say. Chappelle and Burr seem to be the two fellas that I'm shining on the most, probably maybe because they're the most popular and I don't watch that much TV. But I kind of know both of these guys and have known of them for many, many years. And Chappelle's got an incredible story. But the things he talks about, and see that there's little hints from our study viewpoint. You understand there's like some little Illuminati things he tries to slide in on you.
Yeah.
There's little pieces of science that
Absolutely.
he's dropping as he speaks. And Bill Burr, a little bit too, because you do get up into those upper echelons and the rules kind of change. You get into that Kevin Spacey league of people.
People end up dead.
Well, yeah, it's just all these people that have suicided themselves from, and I don't know. I mean, all the way back to Breitbart.
Oh, one of Kevin Spacey's, one of his accusers in the civil suit ended up dead.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Did he shoot himself in the back of the head twice?
I don't know. I just read it today. I didn't get the modus.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, and those things being said, if you have to subject yourself to such dastardly deeds, what is it that you're hiding? That you would you need to silence this person so harshly, you need to end their existence.
He knows I've got ring around the collar.
Yeah. It's those dirty rings. You try scrubbing them out. But that also goes to show you the level of infraction that's going on here. If it's just gossip, people aren't going to be taking people out, to their end over that. So I don't know. It's whatever they're hiding is not good.
Speaking of Halloween, I've always said that my skeletons aren't in my closet. They're out on my front porch. So just come ask me about them. They're just, I'm just real open about my whole life because I'd rather tell you exactly like it is than have you hear it through the grapevine.
Sure.
I'm open about and candid about it all. And I find that when I'm actually able to have a really wonderful conversation with someone. We both learn something about life from each other.
Absolutely.
That happened to me today. Went to teach a voice lesson and we ended up spending, I said, I'm not even charging you for today. We spent 90 minutes talking about mental health and all of that and all kinds of wonderful topics. And, I felt like she was my sister when I walked out of there, not just a client, and that's what it's all about.
Very good.
That connection. You know what I mean? That's what you guys have taught me so much the past year. And I appreciate that. I found that again. I had lost that. And I want to thank you both for that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And, everyone you meet has an unbearable set of circumstances. And knowing that, we're all coping.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when we take the time, and it's really not a whole lot of time, you take the time to spend a couple minutes talking to people and just let them talk a little bit because so many people don't get to express themselves to anybody. It's interesting. A lot of my customers at in the window business, they're very elderly and they don't really get to talk to other live people. They might be shy or whatever, but I'm in their house and I ask them some questions about them and their life. And it's amazing.
The stories. The stories.
And there's a big thing. And this was a breakthrough for me as a stand-up comic. I learned to talk to people and not at people. In fact, in my show, if you watch my show, the first half of my show is my act. I'm talking more at you than to you. But the second half of the show, I'm talking to you. It's like I've earned your trust, you've earned my friendship, so let's share. And it's a lot of fun. And all the comics, they, the one thing that all the comics, every time you do an interview or whatever, somebody says, well, do you have any advice you can give to the young comedians? And that is my little sage piece of advice for stand-ups. Learn to talk to the people, not at the people. So, and you'll go further.
Absolutely.
You'll have your bits where you talk at them because they're just jokes or they're bits or they're hunks. But at some point you have to endear yourself to the audience. And it's very, very important. So what do you got going on there?
I'm just doodling. It's
I know when he's doodling, I always feel like he's ready to say something very profound.
No, this time I was just drawing a jack-o'-lantern. Profound as it got there.
Michael.
Well, I was thinking a little bit about, when I do my shows, I do them very differently. And they're kind of I call them a cabaret show because I do a lot of interaction and talking to people. And, I think that's something a lot of singers in town, they just stand in a corner and sing and they don't interact. And my favorite part is in between when I get to talk to people and hear their stories and how a song meant something to them or triggered a memory for them. And one of the things that was very cool was I realized this last month, I love doing the show with live musicians, but I used just tracks lately. And I had a conversation today with someone and they're like, when you do it by yourself, there's this different energy.
Yeah.
And it's like, cause I'm able to read the audience and really connect with them. And pull different songs out based on what they want to hear, or they come in, they don't know that I'm performing, and the next thing I know, I'm throwing something else out at them. And it's been a project I've wanted to do for a long time. And I think about all the comedians like you in my life, because I have a big background with that, going all the way back to when I was young and first started 40 years ago. Oh my gosh, 40 years ago. Almost 40 years ago. And
it's the reality show.
Oh, geez. And I realized that being around stand-up comics, I learned about storytelling and being with that audience. And the ones who were good were the ones like you who knew how to talk to the audience, not talk at them.
Yes. And
Bill Hicks, watching Bill Hicks, he was a master. He was a master.
Your early days, you were exposed to some great comics.
I really was. I was blessed. Yes.
Well, what we've been talking about the last few weeks here on the imho.love show is synchronicity, how things seem to kind of fall together. We left the phone lines open if anybody wants to call, 727-441-3000. That's 727-441-3000. If you have a story of a synchronistic experience, somebody that happened into your life at just the perfect moment, somebody that left your life at just the perfect moment, or whatever scenario happened to you where you noticed this big piece of synchronicity. We got about 4 minutes left, and if you want to call in and give us the Reader's Digest version of it, we'd be happy to.
While we're waiting for a call, if not, I want to thank Terry Linkale for hooking me up with Dean Caparella, and I'm going to be appearing in Request for Aliens Revealed. It's a live online summit that's going to happen on sometime in December or January. So
we'll let y'all know about it.
We'll keep you posted on
What's
that.
the name of it? What's it called?
It's called Request for Aliens Revealed.
Request for Aliens Revealed.
Yeah. So, me, I'm kind of not a fan of using the word aliens, but, look,
there's better terms.
It's time to educate people, and I'm just glad that they asked me to appear and
man,
have some questions for
Well,
them.
you have a very vast understanding of this whole thing, Michael. And for those of you recently tuning in, hi, Jerry Donnelly. Good to see you, buddy. One of the things that we do, the CE5 or the HICE, the HICE is the Human Initiated Contact Experience. That's what we had over the weekend. We had several sightings and beautiful displays, a lot of communication with our star family this weekend. And we sit in a circle, so you're going to miss half of them. But I did see one nice streaker that came through. We had lots of flash bulbs and lots of communication. And what we're doing there is we're clearing ourselves out. We're having a very cleansing prayer and meditation prior to our meeting out in this beautiful field underneath. And they're specifically planned for no moon nights. So the sky as dark as possible. And then we can see, there's this stuff is going on every day, moon in, moon out. But for us to see it, and we have a beautiful staff photographer, a guy named Ken Glanister, who captures these things. And if you follow Michael's CE5 site or HICE site on Meetup, these things everything gets posted and on the imho.love show. On that website, all this stuff gets posted. And what we're trying to do is we realize that this world is vibrating erratically, and it is time for our extraterrestrial friends, our star family, they're going to reach back down to us. And we want to be the friendly hand. We want to be the, for our big Walmart planet, we want to be the greeters. So we want to tell them that, we mean no harm, and we don't. And we want to unite with the most peaceful and beautiful side of them. We got about a minute left, Michael.
Yeah, this is a meditation we do as self-cultivation for the sake of spiritual cultivation and nothing more. And this higher states of spiritual cultivation allow us to open ourselves up for the invitation of contact, which occurs regularly when we do it. And this weekend was a little bit different. I posted on IMHO, the site, the Eckhart Tolle meditation that we all did out in the field rather than, individuals calling it. We just simply played the YouTube meditation, put it in a great mood and where we needed to be spiritually, just letting go of everything, and then all of a sudden contact occurs.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Lou Angel Wolf, Michael Merberg, Kathy McGuire. We are imho.love. We're here every Wednesday night at 7:30 on the Tan Talk Radio Network. This show will be saved on BitChute. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook Live. It'll be on imho.love later on tonight. We send it out all over the world. CE5 groups, and we thank you so much for listening in, all my friends, and hi Noel Hughes. Good to see you all. Thanks for listening or viewing. We'll be back again next Wednesday night, and we will study the Tao of Pooh next Wednesday.
Yeah, here where spiritual cultivation is everyone's business.
There you go. Amen. Good night. Use your head, trust your